I quit my job to start a business. My brother copied me and my parents chose to support him instead, so I went no contact. Then I discovered my girlfriend was spying on me for them. I'm a 30-year-old guy named Alex, and I've recently made a big change in my life. After working in marketing for the past 8 years, I decided to quit my job and start my own digital advertising firm. It's something I've been dreaming about for years, and I finally felt ready to take the leap. My journey in marketing started right after college. I majored in business with a focus on marketing, and I was lucky enough to land an internship at a local advertising agency. It wasn't glamorous work. I spent most of my time fetching coffee and making copies, but it gave me a foot in the door. After my internship, they offered me a full-time position as a junior marketing associate. Over the next few years, I worked my way up the corporate ladder. I moved from junior associate to marketing coordinator, then to marketing manager, and finally to senior marketing strategist. Each promotion came with more responsibility and better pay, but also with more stress and less creative freedom. Don't get me wrong, I learned a lot during my time in the corporate world. I worked on campaigns for big brands, learned the ins and outs of digital advertising, and built a solid network of contacts in the industry. But as time went on, I felt increasingly frustrated with the bureaucracy and red tape that came with working for a large agency. I started daydreaming about running my own firm. I imagined being able to choose my clients, implement cutting-edge strategies without having to go through layers of approval, and build a company culture that truly valued creativity and innovation. The idea wouldn't leave me alone, so I started planning. For 2 years, I lived as frugally as possible. I moved to a smaller apartment, sold my car and started biking to work, and cut back on eating out and entertainment. Every extra dollar I earned went into my savings account. I also took on freelance projects on the side, building up my portfolio and client base. Finally, after months of planning and saving, I felt ready to make the jump. I handed in my resignation and started setting up my own digital advertising firm. It was scary, but also incredibly exciting. Now, a bit about my family. My parents, John and Sarah, have always been supportive of my career. Dad runs a logistics company that he built from the ground up, and Mom handles the finances. They're both in their early 60s now, and their business is doing well. I also have a younger brother, Nathan, who's 27. Nathan and I have always had a competitive relationship. Growing up, he always seemed to be trying to outdo me in everything: sports, grades, you name it. This competition continued into adulthood, with Nathan often comparing our career progress and salaries. When I decided to start my own business, I initially kept it to myself. I wanted to have everything in place before I shared my plans. But after a few months of preparation, I felt ready to discuss it with my family. I thought their business experience could be valuable, and I was hoping they might be willing to invest a small amount to help me get started. So, I invited everyone over for a family dinner. I cooked my specialty, lasagna, and we all sat down to eat. After dinner, I brought up my plans. I explained my business idea, showed them my projections, and asked for their advice. My parents seemed interested and asked thoughtful questions. Nathan, however, was unusually quiet throughout the conversation. A few weeks after this dinner, Nathan called a family meeting. He announced that he was also quitting his job to start a digital advertising business. I was shocked and frustrated. Nathan had never shown any interest in this field before, and now he was suddenly diving in headfirst. I tried to keep my cool, reminding myself that the digital advertising market is large enough for multiple players. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Nathan was once again trying to compete with me directly. About a month after Nathan's announcement, my parents asked to meet with me. They explained that they had limited funds to invest and had decided to back Nathan's business instead of mine. Their reasoning was that Nathan's business school degree gave him an edge, despite my years of practical experience in the field. This decision hit me hard. I felt betrayed and undervalued. The fact that Nathan had only become interested in digital advertising after I shared my plans made it even worse. It seemed like a clear case of favoritism, and I couldn't understand why my parents couldn't see it. The situation came to a head when Nathan suggested that I should consider working for him if my business didn't take off. His offer felt more like an insult than genuine help. I lost my temper and accused him of always copying my ideas and never having an original thought. I brought up numerous instances from our childhood and teenage years where he had done similar things. Our argument escalated quickly, with both of us saying hurtful things. Our parents didn't intervene or defend me. Instead, they suggested that I should consider Nathan's offer to work together, saying it could be beneficial for both of us. That night, I made the decision to cut ties with my family. I packed my belongings and left without saying goodbye. For the next 6 months, I avoided all contact with them, missing holidays and family events. Throughout this challenging period, my girlfriend Jess was my main source of support. We had been together for 3 years, having met at a marketing conference where we instantly hit it off. Jess works in public relations, so she understood the challenges of the industry and was enthusiastic about my business venture. 2 weeks ago, Jess and I went on a weekend getaway to a nearby beach town. We both needed a break from the stress of the past few months. On our second day there, while Jess was in the shower, I couldn't find my phone to check the time. I picked up Jess's phone, intending just to look at the clock, when I noticed a text notification from my dad. Confused and curious, I opened the message thread. What I found was devastating. For months, Jess had been sending my dad detailed information about my business, client lists, marketing strategies, financial projections, and more. In exchange, my dad had been sending her money. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The person I trusted most had been spying on me and feeding information to my family. Without thinking, I packed my bags and left the hotel, ignoring Jess's calls and messages. Now, I'm left trying to figure out what to do next. My family has betrayed me, my girlfriend has been spying on me, and my business plans have been compromised. I'm feeling lost and unsure of who I can trust. Update 1: It's been a week since I discovered Jess's betrayal, and I've finally confronted her about it. After taking some time to process everything and gather my thoughts, I decided it was time to face the situation head on. I returned to our shared apartment, half expecting Jess to have moved out already. But there she was, sitting on the couch, looking worried and apologetic. As soon as I walked in, she stood up, ready to talk. We sat down, and Jess started explaining her actions. She claimed that my dad had reached out to her about 2 months after I cut off contact with my family. He expressed concern about my well-being and asked if she could keep him updated on how I was doing. At first, Jess said, she only shared general information, that I was doing okay, that the business was moving forward. But gradually, my dad started asking for more specific details. He framed it as wanting to make sure I was on the right track, that he could offer advice if needed. Jess tried to justify her actions by saying she only wanted to help repair my relationship with my family. She claimed my dad had convinced her it was for my own good, that they were worried about me and wanted to support me from afar. When I pressed her about the money, she admitted that it had helped her pay off some of her student loans. She insisted she never meant to hurt me, that she thought she was doing the right thing by keeping my family informed. I found it hard to accept her explanations. The casual way she talked about betraying my trust for months was shocking. It seemed like she didn't fully grasp the severity of what she had done. I asked her how she would feel if I had been secretly sharing information about her life and work with her estranged family members. She fell silent, finally seeming to understand the magnitude of her betrayal. We talked for hours, going over every detail of her interactions with my family. I learned that not only had she been sharing information with my dad, but she had also been in contact with Nathan. Apparently, he had reached out to her separately, asking for specific details about my business strategies. This revelation made me even angrier. I felt like I was surrounded by people who were constantly trying to undermine me. I asked Jess why she didn't tell me about these conversations, why she didn't give me a chance to decide for myself if I wanted to reconnect with my family. Jess broke down crying, saying she was scared of losing me. She thought that if she told me about my family's attempts to contact her, I would cut her off too. She said she felt caught in the middle, trying to keep everyone happy. I told Jess I needed space to think things through. The trust between us had been severely damaged, and I wasn't sure if our relationship could recover from this betrayal. She agreed and said she would stay with a friend for a while. As Jess was packing some of her things, my phone rang. It was Nathan. I was tempted to ignore the call, but something made me answer. Nathan's voice was smug as he asked how I was doing. He mentioned hearing about some trouble in paradise with Jess. I was furious. Not only had Nathan been receiving information about my personal life and business, but he was now gloating about it. I asked him point blank if he had used the information Jess provided to undermine my business. Nathan didn't deny it. Instead, he had the audacity to suggest that we should team up now that everything was out in the open. He said that with his business degree and my practical experience, we could build something great together. I hung up on him without responding. The fact that he could so casually suggest working together after months of deception and betrayal was mind-boggling. After Nathan's call, I sat down and tried to make sense of everything that had happened. I felt betrayed on multiple fronts, by my girlfriend, by my brother, by my parents. The people I should have been able to trust the most had all conspired behind my back. I started questioning every interaction I'd had with Jess over the past few months. Were there signs I had missed? Times when she seemed overly interested in my work or asked too many questions about my business plans? I couldn't help but feel foolish for not noticing anything was amiss. The next day, I called my best friend, Mike, and filled him in on everything that had happened. Mike has been my friend since college, and he's one of the few people I feel I can truly trust right now. He offered to come over and help me sort through things. Mike arrived with a 6-pack of beer and a sympathetic ear. We spent the evening talking through the whole situation. He helped me see things from different angles and reminded me that I hadn't done anything wrong. It was comforting to have someone firmly in my corner. As we talked, Mike brought up something I hadn't considered. He pointed out that my family's actions, especially my parents investing in Nathan's copycat business, might be considered a form of corporate espionage. He suggested I speak with a lawyer to understand my rights and options. The idea of taking legal action against my own family felt extreme, but Mike's words made me realize the seriousness of the situation. This wasn't just a family squabble anymore, it was potentially a legal issue that could affect my business and future. The next morning, I called a lawyer who specializes in business law. We set up a consultation for later in the week. I'm not sure if I'll pursue any legal action, but I want to understand my options. For now, I'm focusing on salvaging what I can of my business plans. It's challenging, knowing that my competitors, namely, my brother, might have access to my strategies, but I'm determined to succeed despite these setbacks. I'm also considering seeking therapy to help me work through these complex emotions and family dynamics. It's clear that there are deep-seated issues that need to be addressed, and I want to make sure I'm handling them in a healthy way. As for my relationship with Jess and my family, I'm at a loss. The trust has been severely damaged, and I'm not sure if or how it can be repaired. I'm taking it one day at a time, focusing on my own well-being and the future of my business. Update 2: It's been a month since my last update, and a lot has happened. I've maintained my no-contact policy with my family, which has been challenging but necessary for my mental health. I met with the lawyer I mentioned in my last update. She listened to my story and explained that while there might be grounds for a lawsuit based on the misuse of proprietary business information, pursuing legal action against family members can be complicated and emotionally draining. She advised me to focus on protecting my business moving forward rather than seeking retribution. Taking her advice, I've been working on rebuilding my business plans from the ground up. It's been challenging, knowing that my initial strategies might have been compromised, but it's also pushed me to be more innovative and think outside the box. I've been reaching out to potential clients, being careful not to approach any that I had previously discussed with Jess or included in my original business plan. It's been slow going, but I've managed to secure a few promising contracts. These new clients seem excited about my fresh approach to digital advertising, which has boosted my confidence. One unexpected positive outcome of this situation is that it's forced me to be more cautious about who I trust with sensitive information. I've implemented stricter privacy measures in my business operations and am being more selective about the details I share, even with clients. I've also started seeing a therapist to work through my feelings about the family situation and the betrayal by Jess. It's been helpful to have an objective perspective on everything that's happened. My therapist has been helping me understand the dynamics that led to this situation and develop healthier ways of dealing with conflict and competition. Through therapy, I've started to recognize some patterns in my relationship with Nathan that go back to our childhood. Our parents' tendency to pit us against each other, often unintentionally, fostered a sense of competition that has carried into our adult lives. While this doesn't excuse Nathan's actions, it has helped me understand the root of our issues. As for Jess, we haven't spoken since she moved out. I'm still processing my feelings about her actions and not ready for any kind of reconciliation. The breach of trust was significant, and I'm not sure our relationship can recover from it. My therapist has been helping me work through the grief of losing what I thought was a supportive partnership. On the business front, I recently heard through a mutual friend that Nathan's venture isn't doing well. Apparently, despite having access to my strategies and client information, he's having trouble retaining clients and managing the day-to-day operations of a digital advertising firm. This news brought up mixed emotions for me. On one hand, there's a part of me that feels vindicated. It confirms what I've always believed, that success in this industry comes from experience and genuine passion, not just from having inside information or a business degree. On the other hand, I feel a sense of sadness about the whole situation. The fact that Nathan was willing to potentially sacrifice his relationship with me for a business venture that he wasn't even passionate about is disheartening. It makes me wonder about the values our parents instilled in us and how things got to this point. I've also heard that my parents, who invested heavily in Nathan's business, are worried about their investment. This has led to some tension between them and Nathan. While I'm not directly involved in any of this, it does affect me. I can't help but think about how different things might have been if they had chosen to support both of us equally, or if they had encouraged cooperation rather than competition between us. Despite everything that's happened, I'm starting to feel more optimistic about the future. Rebuilding my business plans has been challenging, but it's also been an opportunity to refine my ideas and create something even better than what I had originally envisioned. I've been focusing on developing unique strategies that set me apart from competitors. I'm also exploring niche markets that I hadn't considered before, which has opened up new possibilities for my business. Moving forward, I'm trying to stay focused on my personal growth and the success of my business. While it's been a difficult few months, I feel like I'm coming out of this experience stronger and wiser. I'm learning to trust my instincts more, to be more discerning about who I let into my inner circle, and to stand firm in my convictions. I'm not sure what the future holds in terms of my relationship with my family. For now, I'm maintaining the no-contact policy, but I'm open to the possibility of reconciliation in the future if they're willing to acknowledge their actions and make genuine efforts to change the dysfunctional dynamics in our family. As for my personal life, I'm taking things one day at a time. I'm not ready to start dating again, but I am focusing on strengthening my friendships and building a support network outside of my family. My friend Mike has been incredibly supportive throughout this whole ordeal, and I've been spending more time with other friends who have stood by me. I've also been trying to maintain a healthy work-life balance, which is challenging when you're building a business from scratch. I've started rock climbing as a way to de-stress and challenge myself physically. It's been a great outlet for my frustrations and has helped me clear my head when I'm feeling overwhelmed. In terms of my business, I've been exploring new marketing techniques that I hadn't considered before. I'm particularly interested in the potential of influencer marketing and have been reaching out to micro-influencers in various niches. This approach seems promising and could give me an edge over more traditional advertising agencies. I've also been attending industry conferences and networking events. At first, it was uncomfortable because I kept expecting to run into Nathan or someone from my old company. But as time went on, I found these events to be great opportunities to make new connections and stay up to date with industry trends. Last week, I landed my biggest client yet, a mid-sized tech startup looking to expand their market reach. This contract could be a game changer for my business, and it came entirely through my own efforts and new strategies. It felt good to win this client on my own merits, without any family connections or inside information. As I look towards the future, I'm cautiously optimistic. The past few months have been incredibly challenging, but they've also pushed me to grow in ways I never expected. I'm learning to trust myself more, to be more resilient in the face of setbacks, and to value my own skills and experience. I know there will be more challenges ahead, both in my personal life and in my business. But for the first time in a while, I feel equipped to handle whatever comes my way. Update 3: It's been 6 months since this whole ordeal began, and I've reached a point where I feel I've gained some perspective on the situation. A few days ago, Jess reached out, asking to meet and clear the air. After some consideration, I agreed, mainly because I felt I needed closure. We met at a local coffee shop, neutral ground for both of us. During our conversation, Jess apologized for her actions. She explained that she's been in therapy too, working through her own issues and trying to understand why she betrayed my trust. She admitted that my parents had manipulated her, playing on her insecurities and her desire to be accepted by my family. Jess also revealed that she had been struggling with financial issues that she hadn't shared with me. The money my parents offered had seemed like a solution to her problems at the time. She acknowledged that this didn't excuse her actions but hoped it would help me understand her motivations. While I appreciated her honesty, I told Jess that I couldn't forgive her actions. The breach of trust was too significant, and too much damage had been done. We both agreed that it was best to move on separately. Despite the pain of the situation, the conversation gave me a sense of closure that I needed. Regarding my family, I've maintained my no-contact stance. I heard through mutual acquaintances that Nathan's business ultimately failed. Apparently, having my strategies wasn't enough to make up for his lack of experience in the field. My parents have been trying to reach out to me, leaving voicemails and sending emails asking to talk. I'm not interested in reconnecting at this point. The favoritism and manipulation they displayed have caused too much hurt, and I need more time to heal. My therapist has been helping me work through my feelings about my family and set healthy boundaries. On the business front, things have been looking up. The contract with the tech startup I mentioned in my last update has been going well. They've even referred me to some of their industry contacts, which has led to more opportunities. I've hired 2 employees, a graphic designer and a social media specialist. It's been a big step, transitioning from working solo to managing a small team, but it's also been rewarding. I'm learning a lot about leadership and delegation, skills that I never got to fully develop in my previous job. One unexpected development is that I've started mentoring a young marketer who reached out to me after hearing me speak at a conference. It's been surprisingly fulfilling to share my knowledge and experience with someone who's just starting out in the field. It's also helped me appreciate how much I've learned and grown over the years. As I look to the future, I'm cautiously optimistic. My business is growing steadily, and I'm proud of what I've built, especially given the challenges I've faced. I'm no longer looking over my shoulder, wondering if Nathan is going to swoop in and steal my clients or ideas. Instead, I'm focused on innovation and providing the best service I can to my clients. In my personal life, I'm slowly opening myself up to the possibility of new relationships. I'm not actively dating yet, but I'm making an effort to meet new people and expand my social circle. The betrayal by Jess left its mark, but I'm working on not letting it define my future relationships. The experience with my family has been painful, but it's also taught me valuable lessons about self-reliance and the importance of surrounding myself with people who genuinely support me. While I'm not ready to reconcile with them, I haven't completely closed that door for the future. For now, I'm focusing on building my own life and career on my terms. As I reflect on the past 6 months, I can see how far I've come. There have been moments of doubt, anger, and sadness, but also moments of triumph and personal growth. I'm not the same person I was when this all started, and in many ways, I think I'm stronger for having gone through this experience. Moving forward, I'm committed to staying true to myself and my values. I know there will be more challenges ahead, but I feel better equipped to handle them now. My experiences have made me more resilient, more self-assured, and more determined than ever to succeed on my own terms.